Hello everybody. Today I'm going to show you some of the error protection features in Cohler Classical that is really unique in the industry. Cohler Classical protects you against the most common errors that are made in multi-track, multi-take audio editing, and it either immediately repairs a problem when found or notifies you of it. So I'm going to show you a project here. This is about a 14 or 15 track project, Appalachian Spring. You can see we've got 10 track groups, each of which is 15 or so tracks, something like that, 18 tracks. So the most common mistakes are to accidentally drag a multi-track take into the wrong track. So let me show you that. For example, let's say I were to open up this group here and drag this take down one track. Now it's in the wrong place. It immediately undoes it and bounces back. See that? Repaired, undo bad moves, repaired invalid item operation. It put it right back to where it's supposed to be. I'll show it to you again. Try dragging it to the second track here. Boom, goes right back. Okay? So also if you were to drag that down into a separate group into the wrong place. Let me close that up and we'll close up these automation tracks. Let's go over here maybe and do it. I'll move this out of the way here. And let's say this group was opened and then I accidentally drag this item up into the middle here somewhere. Boom, it just puts it back. Repaired invalid item operation throws it right back to where it was. Okay. Now another kind of change. So the correct move is if you move first track to first track. The best way to do that, of course, is with the tracks closed. But if you do it fast enough, you can do it with them open too. Okay, as long as you don't linger in the middle of the track group, because then it thinks you're trying to put it there. But if you do the moves with the track groups closed, you never make that mistake, which is why that's the best way to edit in any case. Now the other kind of problem that happens if you're not careful or if you do something that you're not supposed to be doing and trying to misalign individual items in a take. Here, let's put this in up here. Now, if I purposely turn off the item grouping, which you shouldn't do, notice that says it should be checked, but if I purposely did that and came and selected this item, or let's say this item here, second item, and move it to the right, now it's misaligned with the rest of this take. Now it doesn't find that immediately, but if I try to save the file now, if I hit S to save, it immediately checks and finds it. Quick check repaired bad item move. Notice it's been moved back into alignment and it tells you what it did in order to accomplish that. The quick check command checks the first and second track of each group. So if I had moved this item, it would also find it. If I go to hit save or any other command that causes a save, which is any command that changes edits will cause a save, puts it right back to where it was. So this has the effect of fixing problems before they compound. Now the other kind of problem that is automatically fixed by Cohler Classical, or you're notified of, I should say, is when you're recording. So I'm going to go over to the next group here, and let's say we were going to make a recording. So we created some tracks. Let's say we're doing a 3-track recording. We call them A, B, and C. Oops, A, B, and C. And we click this to arm the track group. Now as soon as we click that, it warns us you got to save the project first. So I'm first protecting you against that, because if you don't save the project, it's going to put it in a place you'll probably will never find. Now when you save the project, by default the audio files are right below where the project directory is. You can change that, but that's by default where they are. And they're by default in a file in a directory called audio files. So if I save this here, I call this, let's say, test 4. It's going to save it here under REAPER Media, and it's then going to look in this audio files directory. So hit save, it immediately gives me an alert. Why? Because the directory that it's looking in has different tracks than this project does. In Cohler Classical, your audio directory and your tracks have to match exactly. So we're always loading into or recording from and matching the audio directory. This says following tracks are missing in the REAPER project, namely track 2. So there's a file called track 2 in this directory. And these tracks, A, B, C, are in the REAPER project but are not in the directory. So these two don't match. So I have a choice. Either go and delete the files that are called track 2 in the directory, if those are unimportant, or I'm going to select a new directory for it. If you select a new directory that has no files or a directory that matches, you're all set. So I'm going to go select a new directory. It lets me select one. I'll create a new folder here, and I'll call it, new audio files. Okay. So now I create a new directory. I click open. Now we're all set. We're armed to record. It wouldn't allow me to arm until I have a valid recording directory that either has nothing in it or matches the track. This tells us now that there's nothing in it. We're on take 0. This take window, by the way, can be resized and placed anywhere, and it automatically resizes. You can put it on another monitor, whatever you want. It automatically increments as you record takes. With Option Tab, you can open and close it. But now I'm going to record. So my mics are already armed. I hit Command R or Control R on the PC, and I start recording. Recording take 1, immediately the take count is updated. Command R stops it. Command R starts take 2, stops it. Command R starts take 3, stops it. Okay? So now, if I were to delete, if I say, okay, take 3 was bad, I'm going to delete that, I can just go to File with take 3 selected and say delete items and files. It'll warn me a few times. Warn me once, warn me twice. Now it's going to delete it. Deletes take 3, and notice the take counter is automatically back to take 2. The other thing you can do is you can manually reset the take counter. Let's say I want to overwrite both take 1 and 2. I don't need them. I could delete them. That's one way to do it. Or I could simply set the take counter back. So I can go to take number here under record menu, set it to 0, hit return. It's now going to warn me take number 1 is going to be overwritten when you record. So if I hit OK, take number's back to 0. I haven't deleted these files yet, but if I hit record now, it's going to warn me again when I do the Command R, about to overwrite take 1. OK, I say yes, and it's recording take 1 again. As soon as I finish this recording, it'll update the waveform in the other take there too. So watch, stop. So now notice this is take 1 and this is take 1. This is just that portion of this now. But it's overwritten those files. Take 1 files are gone. If I hit record again, it's now going to overwrite take 2. And it warns me about to overwrite take 2. Yes. Writes take 2. I stop. And notice it overwrote take 2. And there's that. So these are just copies of the same item with different cropping of the item. That's all. So there you see it. It protects you against moving items incorrectly. It also protects you against deleting items. So let's say I were to delete one of the 3 items in the item group. It'll immediately, I'm going to turn off the, I'm going to disarm the tracks now so that meters stop flashing. And I'm briefly again going to turn on, well actually I don't need to do that. Let's say I were to select this and then delete it. It immediately says you can't do that, repaired it. You can't delete one item of an item group. It prevents you from doing it. If I attempt to delete this, again, it undoes it within less than a second. If I attempt to delete this, it undoes it within a second. Okay? So those are all protections built into Cohler Classical. Prevents you from losing the alignment on multi-take items. It prevents you from accidentally mispositioning them, from accidentally deleting them, hitting a keystroke. It warns you about recording over previous takes, and it keeps you informed at all times about what take number you're on. It also prevents you from recording into a directory that doesn't match your project, and vice versa. It won't let you load from a directory that doesn't match your project. So, for example, if I select all these items right now and delete them, they're all still in the directory. So if I go to File, Load Files, I can load them all back. There's 2 takes there. I can say go load them. There they are. Okay. However, let me delete them again. If I put a 4th track in here, so I come down here and add a 4th track, call it D. Now this doesn't match the layout that's in that audio directory. So now if I hit load, it tells me, alert, the load directory does not match the project. You've got D in the project, and A, B, and C are in both the directory and the project, but D is not in the directory. So it won't let you load there. So at that point, you've either got to, you can choose another media directory if you meant to load from another media directory, or you make it match. You either, in this case, obviously, we just delete this track we don't need. Right? Now it'll match. Now I hit load. Now it says there's 2 takes there. So this prevents you from recording to or loading from a mismatching directory automatically. So those are the most important error protections inside of Cohler Classical. Everything is 1 click away.